fan community, the fandom world is once again in absolute chaos. And at the center of it all are two names that never fail to ignite global attention: Taehyung and Jungkook. In the past few days, social media timelines, fan forums, TikTok edits, and comment sections across multiple platforms have all been flooded with one burning question: what exactly is going on with Taehyung and Jungkook right now? And even more intriguingly, why are so many fans suddenly convinced that the two are now in what they call a Calvin Klein versus Celine duet? At first, the phrase sounds playful, dramatic, and almost too stylish to be real. But inside the fandom, this theory has quickly evolved into something much bigger than a passing joke. For many fans who closely follow every detail from stage presence, fashion aura, body language, dance energy, public appearances, and even the smallest visual clues, this phrase has become the perfect way to describe the current dynamic between the two global icons. Because according to fans, what they are seeing lately is not just another TAEKOOK moment. It feels like two completely different worlds of charisma, fashion identity, and performance energy are now moving side by side and somehow creating something explosive together. On one side, there is Jungkook, carrying that bold, clean, modern, and magnetic edge that fans often associate with effortless global star power. On the other side, there is Taehyung, bringing his signature artistic elegance, luxurious mystery, and classic fashion intensity that turns every frame into something cinematic. And when those two energies start appearing together again and again, not only in fashion conversations, but also through dance, chemistry, timing, and repeated appearances, fans naturally begin asking the question no one can stop thinking about: is this all leading to some kind of hidden collaboration? How the Calvin Klein via Celine theory started, like most fandom theories that eventually go viral, this one did not begin with an official statement, teaser poster, or confirmed announcement. It began with observation, small details, repeated moments, unexpected parallels, and above all, the unmistakable feeling that something about Taehyung and Jungkook's recent energy feels too intentional to ignore. Fans first started using the phrase Calvin Klein versus Celine as a way to describe the visual contrast between them. But very quickly, the phrase evolved into something deeper than just fashion branding or style comparisons. Because in the eyes of the fandom, this was never really about versus in the literal sense. It was about contrast. A contrast so sharp, so beautiful, and so strangely compatible that it started to feel almost like a concept in itself. Jungkook's side of the equation. Fans describe Jungkook's current image as bold, sleek, minimal but powerful, sharp, sensual without trying too hard, intensely modern. There is something about the way Jungkook carries himself lately that feels almost dangerously simple. His visuals don't scream for attention, they command it. Whether it's in rehearsal clips, public sightings, stage footage, or even the way he enters a frame, there is a directness to his presence that feels clean and impactful. Taehyung's side of the equation. Then there is Taehyung, whose current image has fans using words like elegant, vintage luxury, cinematic, artistic, mysterious, effortlessly expensive. Taehyung's energy is completely different, yet equally impossible to look away from. He doesn't dominate through intensity alone. He dominates through atmosphere. His presence changes the mood of a room, a camera angle, or even a simple still image. And once fans started seeing these two worlds standing next to each other more often, the internet did what it always does best. It created a theory, and suddenly Calvin Klein versus Celine became the fandom's new shorthand for something that felt bigger than aesthetics. It began to feel like a duet of opposites. Why fans feel like they are always together lately. One of the biggest reasons this theory exploded so quickly is because many fans believe that Taehyung and Jungkook have recently been moving in the same orbit almost constantly. And this is where things get even more interesting. Because according to fans, it's not just about seeing them in the same place. It's about the pattern. It's about how often their names appear together, how often their energy is discussed as one shared moment, how often they seem to be visually or emotionally linked in the eyes of the audience. Fans have been pointing out repeated appearances in similar spaces or timelines, matching or complementary energy in visual moments, a growing sense of synchronized presence, and most importantly, a chemistry that seems to be getting more noticeable through movement and performance. This is why so many fans are no longer treating these moments as random. Instead, they are beginning to ask a much bigger question. What if this is not accidental at all? Because in the modern entertainment world, collaboration does not always begin with an official announcement. Sometimes it begins through visual storytelling. Sometimes the teaser is not a teaser at all. It's the way two people stand in the same frame, the way they move in the same choreography, the way they create tension without saying anything. And if that is what is happening right now, then Taehyung and Jungkook may already be telling the audience a story without ever directly confirming it. Dance, the biggest clue of all? If there is one word that keeps coming up over and over again in fan discussions, it is this: dance. More than fashion. More than visuals. More than styling. For many fans, dance has become the strongest possible clue that something bigger may be unfolding between Taehyung and Jungkook. And honestly, it makes sense, because dance is one of the few performance languages that can reveal chemistry in a way words never can. Dance can show trust, rhythm, comfort, tension, contrast, storytelling, emotional sync. And lately, fans believe that whenever Taehyung and Jungkook are seen moving within the same performance energy, something about it feels different. Not necessarily louder, but deeper. Their movements don't always mirror each other exactly, but that is precisely what makes the dynamic feel so compelling. One may bring precision and power. The other may bring softness and artistic control. One cuts through the stage. The other shapes the atmosphere around it. But together they create a visual dialogue. And that is why many fans are no longer describing what they see as just performance. They are calling it a duet. Not a simple duet built on matching choreography, but a duet built on opposing textures, body language, emotional pacing, spatial awareness, and the unspoken confidence of two performers who know exactly how to occupy the same moment. That is not a small thing, because real stage chemistry cannot be fully manufactured. It usually comes from familiarity, comfort, instinct, and timing. And when fans begin to notice all of those elements at once, the speculation becomes impossible to stop. Two energies, one stage. One of the biggest reasons the Klein versus Celine narrative feels so powerful is because Jungkook and Taehyung naturally represent two very different kinds of star power. And in performance, contrast can be more captivating than similarity. Jungkook, the explosion. Jungkook often comes across as a performer with explosive energy. He is precise, strong, controlled, and physically commanding. And there is a very direct quality to his performance style when he moves. It feels immediate, intentional, and impossible to ignore. He performs like a spark hitting dry air. Taehyung, the magnet. Taehyung, meanwhile, often carries a very different kind of force. His power feels slower, smoother, more cinematic. He doesn't always need big movement to create impact. Sometimes, the smallest shift in expression or posture completely changes the atmosphere. He performs like smoke filling a room. And when those two energies meet on the same stage, the result is not confusion. It is tension. Beautiful, stylish, irresistible tension. And in entertainment, tension is one of the most powerful things an audience can feel, because tension keeps people watching. Tension creates replay value. Tension makes fans analyze every second, which is exactly what the fandom is doing right now. Is this really a collaboration? Now comes the question everyone wants answered. Is this actually a collaboration? At this moment, there is still no official confirmation that can definitively prove what fans are hoping for. But that has not stopped the theory from growing stronger. And in some ways, the lack of confirmation is exactly what makes the entire situation even more intense.